Yep, I gotta say, it's looking pretty sad around here. See, gardening is not always pretty flowers and butterflies and happy little kittens rolling around in the grass. It can be all those things, and so much more. It can also be rather disappointing at times. But it's no reason to get discouraged, because learning to grow your own food can be one of the most empowering and rewarding things you'll ever do, even when it doesn't turn out as well as you'd hoped. It's probably more accurate to say that it's the most empowering when it doesn't turn out well, because that is an opportunity to learn a lot of new things. There's nothing like the experience of your own mistakes to teach you something new. So here are my top 5 mistakes from this year. So for this video, I've teamed up with Siloé Oliveira from the YouTube channel Suburban Homestead. So I'll be sharing 4 of my mistakes along with 1 from Siloé. And then, in order to see my biggest mistake about what's going on here, along with 4 from Siloé, you'll have to check out his new video. So my first mistake has to do with watering, which I would say is probably the most frequently searched topic when it comes to gardening, especially for beginners. Whether it's how often you should be watering and how much to give different plants, and what does 1 inch of water per week actually look like when you do it. It can get very complex, and I feel like after doing this for a few years, I'm finally starting to get a handle on it, but my mistake still is that I'm trying to be too efficient with it and combining all of the watering together at the same time as much as possible. And being efficient is usually a good thing, but in this case, it's not really the best when you have some plants that have really shallow roots and then need water more often than other plants that have deep root systems and access to water deep down in the soil. So I still need to be better about coming out here regularly in the morning to see what might need water and what can stand to go another day or two. So I need to keep track of that better. And for any new gardeners, my advice would be to make it a priority to learn the basics of watering first, and then the rest of it will just come with experience and paying attention to your plants and seeing how they respond when you give them water or don't give them water, and the differences between watering from the house, from the hose, or when it rains, or if you have a rain collection system. I always notice a big difference when I have to water from the house for a while and growth slows down, and then we get a big rain and everything just bursts back to life. So make it a priority to get the basics down first and really pay attention to your plants and how they respond. They are trying to communicate with you about when they need water, so you just need to learn their language. Our next big mistake is not getting enough sunlight. And as we all know, plants need plenty of direct sunlight in order to perform photosynthesis, which is how they create their own energy for growth and fruit production. And I know that we're not getting enough in this garden. We get about 4 to 5 hours, depending on where you are and how the shadows kind of move over the whole garden throughout the day in the middle of summer. And these plants really need ideally about 6 to 8 hours. So this is still technically a mistake, but it's also the fact that we were just making the best out of what we had. Since we moved in here 4 years ago, this has always been the sunniest part of the yard. But now that we had to take one of our trees down, we are getting 6 to 8 hours of sun over on the north part of the yard. Although ironically, that garden is getting sun right now at this time of day, and this is in shade, but you'll just have to believe me on that. But anyway, this is now going to be our main gardening area for veggies and for anything that needs a lot of sunlight to produce fruit and to grow nice and big and healthy. So we've got 3 new hugelkultur beds all set up here for next year, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out and see what kind of difference it makes. So my third mistake is that I have not made it enough of a priority to get compost ready for all of the growing spaces that we have now. And we have a lot because we've done a lot of expanding this year. So I wasn't focused on it enough, and I could see that we were falling behind. So I kind of had to try to catch up, started adding more water and making sure to keep turning all the material to get it breaking down more quickly. We also have too much thicker woody material in here that's taking too long to break down. I need to find some smaller brown material that can break down more quickly so we always have compost ready. But I guess my advice here is to find a composting system that works really well for you and whatever you're comfortable with. A lot of people like to just leave their kitchen scraps and other compost material right on the soil and let that break down there, and that works great. It's kind of a lazy way to do it, but it still works. I like to do the chop and drop method to just cut down any plants when they're done growing and leave them on the soil to decompose. But I think what would work best for us, since this is not very attractive, it's just an old garden bed that we stopped growing in and just started piling in compost material. But I would like to get rid of all of this and use a 3-bin system. If you're not familiar, it's just a great way to organize and rotate the material through different stages of decomposition. Something like that would be great because you can keep your new material separated from the compost that is just finishing up and is ready to use and to pull out. It makes it a lot easier to keep that all apart. You can keep adding new material and you always have the stuff that's finished to come out. So it's just a matter of figuring out how I want to build something like that, and someday I'll do that and I'll definitely make a video about it. And my fourth mistake is that these little beds on the end turned out to be a bit too small for a lot of things. They do work well for quite a lot, but we definitely have to think about what we're growing in them. They're probably not the best for any of the larger things that we're trying to grow up these 8-foot trellises. So when we were setting these beds up, we already had this fence here, and I wanted to make some beds that were 4 feet by 4 feet on the inside so they'd be perfect for square foot gardening. But we couldn't fit 2 of these side by side within this fenced area, so I decided to do one in the middle with the 2 smaller beds on either side. But it's turned out that these smaller beds are not quite enough growing space. For example, we had some onions growing in that bed that got pretty big in the larger space. We had the same onions growing in one of the smaller beds, and they were not even half the size. So if you're growing in containers and raised beds, you should really think about what you're trying to plant there and make sure that it's going to have enough space to spread out its roots and grow nice and big, especially if you're trying to get a really nice harvest from it. So I may change this in the future, but for now we're just a little bit limited on what we can plant in these smaller raised beds. So now I'm going to turn it over to Siloé, and he can share his biggest mistake.
Hey Greg, Siloé here. I think it's essential that we share exactly where we fail when we garden. You know why? Because it's only through experience or through learning from others that we can get to more successful gardening. And if you think about it, we only have, 50, 60 seasons that we can learn from? So it's quite limited, and it's only through sharing that we can find out more in less time. So here's my biggest mistake or failure, and it's something that happens a lot in people who are still learning to garden. It's to bite more than you can chew. That means trying to create a bigger garden in your first year than you actually know how to take care of. I definitely was a victim of that in one of my first gardens because I had a decent enough amount of land. And by planting too much in your first year when you're not too experienced and you don't know the little tricks and tips, you end up overwhelming yourself. And while in spring it may be exciting, as the season starts to progress, you get more and more plant growth and crazy growth and things starts to die. It's just too much land to take care of, a lot of weeding. It's just a mess, and you might get discouraged, especially if you don't get any results. So start small. It's a good thing sometimes when people only start with a windowsill, that's all they have, and eventually when they get access to land, then they can expand, because it's only through learning slowly that you get to know how plants work, how growing things work, and how you can be extremely successful at it. Anyways, that's my biggest mistake, and my advice is to start small and grow in time.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Siloé. Gardening is truly a lifelong learning experience that can provide you with many more benefits beyond simply a supply of delicious, nutritious food. Remember to check out Siloé's new video to hear more of what he has to say, along with my biggest mistake. I'll see you there.